Ian, hey mate, thanks for joining in. Are you ready for Game Week 35? I think my team is close to locked in, to be honest. Made my transfer, sold Saka to bring in Mbumo, so I think this team is decent. Let's have a quick look. I'll update this. There we go. Like the team, is Bowen your captain? At the moment, Jared Bowen is actually my captain. I think it's really hard to decide this game week, to be honest, but Jared Bowen, considering his ownership only 12% owned, it's really, really tempting. But Alexander Isak is a decent shout as well. So for me, I'm leaning towards Jared Bowen, to be honest. Hello, thanks for joining in, Suman. How are you? Last night I actually made my transfer for game week 35. I wanted to watch the game Nottingham Forest against Brentford before making my transfer, because Mbumo, he was the one on my transfer list this game week. So Saka has been sold. Mbumo is in my team. I think I'm going Isak unless we get early news De Bruyne starts. So I'm kind of sure that De Bruyne probably will start this game week, but of course there's something about knowing that a player will start, and a player like Kevin De Bruyne as well. Really, really good FPL assets, but yeah, we'll actually consider Kevin De Bruyne next game week when Man City play against Southampton. At least that's my initial plan at the moment. So game week 35, Wolves at home. Game week 36, they're playing Southampton. So yeah, decent option, of course, Kevin De Bruyne. Mbumo, Bowen, or Isaac, who would be the more sensible captaincy, trailing in the mini league by 5 points. So 5 points, that's not much. I think that if you want to take a punt for game week 35, then captaining Jared Bowen is the sensible option. And Mbumo is probably... I think that Mbumo will be heavily captained in game week 35, but Alexander Isak is probably the safe option. So the sensible option, Mbumo. The safe option is probably Alexander Isak, while the punt is Jared Bowen. Hi, would you start Areola instead of Raya to avoid double Arsenal defense? I actually considered starting Areola this game week, but after taking a look at the upcoming fixtures, I'm pretty sure that I will start Raya this game week against Bournemouth. I don't have any Bournemouth players, so if Arsenal can keep a clean sheet, that would be great for me. But in game week 36, I will start Areola. West Ham, they are playing against Man United, while Arsenal are playing away at Anfield against Liverpool. So we'll play Areola. I will play Raya this game week. But next game week, I will start Areola and bench Raya. Agree, I'm currently 250 chasing ranks, so worth the risk. I think If your rank is 250, I'm not sure what your rank history is like, but I think that if 250 is your best rank, it probably makes sense to just go Alexander Isak, but 250 is a decent rank, to be honest. It kind of depends on your ambitions, of course, and how much time you spend on the game. I'm definitely getting my worst rank ever this season, so yeah. I think my worst rank is 188k. But this season I'm really struggling around 800k at the moment, so that's terrible. Finished 30k last year, want top 100k this year. So if you want a 100k rank, you need to take some risks because there are a lot of active managers. So I think that within the 250k, probably most of those players are active, so you need to play actively, do your transfers, try to avoid hits, of course, unless it really makes sense and you get some injuries or suspensions and stuff like that. So I think Alexander Isak, as mentioned, he is probably the safest option. In the press conference today, we got the news that he has actually been struggling with his groin for the last couple of weeks, but the last training sessions for Newcastle, Alexander Isak, he's been feeling well recently, last couple of days, last couple of sessions. So I think that we will probably see a better Alexander Isak. So in my game week 35 team selection video, I'm actually discussing and talking about Alexander Isak. Don't really think that he has looked that great in the last couple of game weeks, but let's have a look at the stats for Alexander Isak and Newcastle. They are playing against Brighton. They are not really impressive when we take a look at their defensive stats. Kept 0 clean sheets, 10 goals conceded, 10 big chances, 21 shots on target, and 5.55 expected goals conceded. So I think that playing away, even though it's away against Brighton, I think that this is a decent fixture for Newcastle. Charlie, hello. Thanks for joining in. Have you locked in your team for game week 35, or do you have some decisions to make? Let's remove the Brighton stats. 1 hour and 17 minutes until the deadline. I'm actually pretty excited for game week 35, to be honest. I really like that there is a big game on a Friday when we have some FPL options involved as well. There have been some Friday deadlines so far this season, but those teams involved in the Friday night matches haven't really been that interesting from an FPL point of view. So I think this game week will be an interesting one. So Man City, for me, I have a triple up from Man City playing against Wolves tonight. Some interesting games tomorrow as well. Aston Villa, Fulham, Everton, Ipswich, Leicester, Southampton, and Saturday is round up by Arsenal against Bournemouth. So I'm actually pretty excited for this game week. Have given it no thought so far. I gave up after my triple captain fail in game week 33, so just ended my season in 34. It's been a tough season for us, Charlie. Not the best results, and I think some of it is probably a bit of bad luck, but however, hope you enjoyed the ride and that you will play FPL next season as well. I'm not really sure, but even though my rank is bad, I'm still really looking forward to the Premier League games and the weekend to watch the games, have a look at live FPL, check for updates, stuff like that. And of course, do the graphics for those live streams as well. So if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. I always try to do a Q&A the night before the deadline, and when I find the time, excuse me, I do a live stream as well. So this season it's not been the best when it comes to rank stuff like that, but definitely been a really exciting season. However, was 800k in 33. Yeah, I remember that. Marino triple captain. Thought he boosted me up to 500k, but ended at 900 after the game week. So bad. Yeah, I think we discussed this earlier. It was really bad luck for Marino owners, but of course even worse for Marino triple captainers. So started well in double game week 33. Really thought that you would get a really good game week in double game week 33, but yeah, that's unlucky and really frustrating. So I totally get that, but at least you have the opportunity to take some punts in the last game weeks of this season. We're actually pretty similar in rank at the moment. I'm like 850k. Not really where I want to be, but it is what it is. Terrible start to the season. Was like 4-5 million after game week 8. But my transfer this game week, as mentioned earlier, I sold Saka. Don't really think that he will start against Bournemouth. He might actually start, of course. We're not really sure, but I think that he will be rested against Bournemouth. So if he starts, he will probably be taken off around 60-70 minutes. And if he doesn't start, he will probably just play 20 minutes at the end. So we know that Arsenal are still struggling and fighting for a spot in the Champions League final. So I think that this is the main priority for Arsenal at the moment. I've slipped to 1.1 million following that 34 red arrow. Yeah. So it's like you will not have your best season, but at 1.1 you can probably try to find some motivation in ending the season within top 1 million at least, to avoid that 1 million in your rank history. I'm not sure how much you care about that, but so what are you thinking about the news we got yesterday about no more blanks and doubles? I was It was kind of 50-50 for me, to be honest. I don't have any chips left, so to take maximum advantage of potential blanks and doubles, I would have to take some hits. Rank history does not really bother me, as has never been great, so yeah. No more blanks or doubles was surprising, to be honest. Yeah, I think that it was surprising as well. It would make sense to move to probably 3 of those fixtures. That would have given us 6 teams with a double game week. I know that Spurs, they were trying to postpone their fixture against Aston Villa, but they declined and the Premier League accepted Aston Villa's rejection. So no double game week for Spurs or Aston Villa, and of course, due to the FA Cup final, Man City against Crystal Palace, I was really expecting those fixtures to be moved, to be honest, but they're still within game week 37, just moved a couple of days later, so I think that we will probably see some rotation. So it will be interesting to see which teams, especially Crystal Palace, line up ahead of that final. So game week 35 is actually a game week where I expect most teams to play their strongest team. I think that Arsenal, of course, because of their fixture against PSG, they have some rotation risks, and same goes for the 2 other teams participating in Europe, Man United and Spurs. But when it comes to Man City and Crystal Palace, I think it makes sense for them to rest their players next game week in game week 36. So hopefully Kevin De Bruyne will start, Marmoush as well. I actually think that Guardiola is close to nailed on for that Man City defense at the moment. So hopefully my Man City triple up will start. Guardiola, Kevin De Bruyne and Marmoush. The thing is that next game week they have I would say an even better fixture playing against Southampton, but I think that both Man City and Crystal Palace are not safe when we talk about captaincy next game week because of the FA Cup final. But the teams I would try to target going forward is, of course, Spurs. They won 3-1 yesterday against Bodo, so they need to actually do something and deliver a strong performance next Thursday. Man United, really strong victory. They beat Athletic 3-0, so they're probably a bit safe, but I think that they will play their strongest team on Thursday in Europe League. It will be really interesting to see the Spurs and Man United and Arsenal lineups this game week. Hopefully Saliba will start. I have Raya as well, so I think that Arsenal, even though if they rest a couple of players, they're probably still the best defensive team in the league, and hopefully they can keep a clean sheet against Bournemouth. It was kind of annoying seeing that Evan Nilsson lost the red card and that he is available for game week 35. but it is what it is. I discussed playing Areola instead of Raya, so it's kind of tempting. I know that Spurs will rest some players and not feel their strongest 11, but it's not like West Ham all of a sudden are the best team in the league as well. So we'll probably double up on the Arsenal defense with Raya and Saliba, but on the other hand, I will double up on West Ham with Jared Bowen as my captain. I really like that fixture for West Ham, especially from an attacking point of view. So Jared Bowen is currently my captain for game week 35. Rudra, Jared Bowen or Elanga for game week 36? I think that Jared Bowen is the best buy at the moment. West Ham actually finds some form, especially when we consider their attack. And Jared Bowen personally, he has looked really good for the last couple of game weeks, and West Ham they have decent fixtures going forward as well. I know that Nottingham Forest have good fixtures as well, but not the best form for Nottingham Forest. And I'm not sure if you watched the game yesterday, but I wasn't really impressed with the attacking Nottingham Forest assets. So I think that Jared Bowen definitely is the best buy at the moment. Jared Bowen is one of the most transferred in players ahead of game week 35 as well. Over 100,000 managers have transferred in Bowen. Ahead of, well, on paper, it's not really looking like a good fixture. Spurs, we know that they are usually one of the teams that potentially can do well in the Premier League, but this season especially, they have been struggling, and I think that especially the fact that they are still fighting for the Europe League final spot. I think that they will probably prioritize going for that final spot. So I think that we will see a weakened Spurs team in game week 35. Same goes for Man United, to be honest. So I think that even though they won 3-0 against Athletic, I think that Brentford could have a really, really good game against Man United this game week. Good evening. Would you play Flecken or Raya? I would probably start Flecken. I'm really close to playing Areola, but I talked about this 10 minutes ago. I know that West Ham will play against probably a rested Spurs team, but West Ham are actually not that great. So I think that Brentford, if we can call yesterday's game against Nottingham Forest an audition, I think that especially Flecken did really well. So yeah, Flecken, if I had him an opportunity to have a bit more fun going for that really, really big differentials, I think that if Leicester mid is El Canus, I actually think that he is a really good option. So I was actually considering him for a minute, but I had some money in the bank, and selling Saka to El Canus would probably give me like 6 million in the bank, something like that. Would have made it easier for me, of course, to bring in Haaland. Could have done Mateta to Haaland next game week. Yeah, but my transfer is done. No regrets. I sold Saka, I brought in Mbumo. I think that Brentford have a really good fixture in game week 35 playing against Man United. So I know not that exciting high ownership for Mbumo. It's probably, I checked yesterday, was like 28, but this point is probably above 30. Let's have a quick look. Mbumo. Yeah. I said probably above 30, but I meant, of course, 40 because he's owned by 40% of the managers. So not that exciting transferring in Mbumo, but I think that it really makes sense considering Man United's form and their participation in the Europe League. $55 left. Not sure if we'll get any early team news, but I'll keep an eye out and let you know if I found anything. One account over at X. Let's have a look at what it's called. FPL team news, something like that. Team news FPL. tweeted 3 hours ago, which Man City players do you need early team news for? I can see that he has actually gotten 2,000 new followers after that tweet, so hopefully for his own sake that he actually have some information. So in this mentioned tweet, a lot of FPL managers are asking the question about Kevin De Bruyne, Savinho, and Marmoush as well. I definitely think that Marmoush will start. We know that Haaland won't, so I just got a notification from my friend Jed. He said that there might potentially still be a potential double game week, and it's the Leicester game in game week 37 against Aston Villa that potentially still can be moved, even though the Premier League actually yesterday confirmed that there will be no more blanks and doubles. But Spurs, if they reach the final, their fixture against Aston Villa can potentially still be moved and be played in game week 36. So we might actually see 2 teams blanking and 2 teams having a double game week this season. It will potentially be Spurs and Aston Villa blanking in game week 37, and the 2 same teams, Spurs and Aston Villa, having a double game week in game week 36. Let's have a quick look at what a potential double game week 36 would look like. So Spurs, they would play at home against Crystal Palace and then away against Villa. And Villa, on the other hand, they will play away against Bournemouth and at home against Spurs. So pretty decent double game weeks for both, especially when we consider their attacking assets. But let's just wait and see what they decide to do. But I really agree that 72 hours between game week 37 and the Europe League final is probably it's like I really understand the appeal from Spurs, to be honest. The Spurs, they are playing on Sunday in game week 37, while Man United, on the other hand, if they reach the final, they are actually playing 2 days before Spurs in game week 37, so they are playing Friday, May 16th. So they will have 2 more days to prepare for the final, of course, if they reach it. So totally understand why Spurs are wanting to move their fixture in game week 37. Juntao, thanks for joining in. Murphy, Essay, or Rogers to Jared Bowen, and bench who? Murphy would be the player I would sell this game week. Essay, Crystal Palace, they still have some decent fixtures. Rodgers as well. Potential double game week for Rodgers as well, so keep hold on Rodgers for now. But Murphy, I think that we know that there will be no more double game weeks for Newcastle. I think that Murphy is probably the one that has to go. I know he did really well in game week 32 and game week 33, but Anthony Gordon is back. I know it's not 100%, but he will start games going forward, so he will eat into the minutes of Murphy and Barnes. So if Anthony Gordon is starting with Murphy on the right, I think that Barnes will probably come on. We can see an early sub for Murphy. So I think that Murphy to Jared Bowen is a really good transfer. So keep SA and Rodgers. I will probably bench Rodgers this game week. But I don't really want to sell him. So in game week 36, Aston Villa playing against Bournemouth. In game week 37, they have a really, really good fixture in that mentioned game week 37 against Spurs. And Spurs, if the game week don't get moved, so if Spurs and Aston Villa don't have that mentioned double game week, we know that Spurs are actually playing in the Europe League final 3 days after their game against Aston Villa. So I think that we will see a really, really reserve team from Spurs. I think that they probably will try to make an example. They have tried to move the game, but if they get rejected, I think that Ange Postecoglou will put out some really young players against Aston Villa in game week 37. So keep hold of Rodgers and Murphy will be my transfer out. Esse, he could potentially be on penalties again for Crystal Palace. I know he missed, was it game week 32 when Esse missed a penalty, but Mateta missed one as well, so maybe Esse is next up. So Man City, they are the bookies' favorites when we consider the clean sheet odds for game week 35. So I have Guardiola in my team. Hopefully he will start. Next on the bookies list, Everton against Ipswich at home. Actually the same percent as Man City, 46, while Brentford against Man United, actually they are third on the list with 38% chance of a clean sheet. So I think this is probably the first time Brentford joining the top 3 bookies predicted clean sheets. And goal scorers, Marmoush, Alexander Isak and Vissa. So the bookies are really backing Brentford. Vissa is on the top 3 for anytime goal scorer, while Brentford are actually on the top 3 for expected clean sheets as well. So the bookies, they are definitely paying attention to the Europe League, and they think that Man United will probably field a bit weaker team this game week. The posts, they are flying in. Just waited 2 minutes and I had like 35 new posts over at X. So FPL Manager, they are starting to lock in their teams. A lot of posts about game week 35 at the moment. Some rumors about Kevin De Bruyne being on the bench. Kevin De Bruyne benched. It was actually tweeted by Fabrizio Romano earlier today, but he deleted it. But of course, someone took a screenshot, so I'm not sure if that was because he was actually telling something that he shouldn't, or if the information was false. But Kevin De Bruyne might be benched. I've actually seen a couple of teams captaining Kevin De Bruyne as well, so hopefully he'll start. I'm not really considering Kevin De Bruyne captain at the moment. It's between Jared Bowen or Alexander Isak for me. 40 minutes left until the deadline. Let me know if you have any questions, 50-50 decisions or dilemmas ahead of the game week 35 deadline. My team is pretty much locked in. Used my transfer already. Sold Saka to bring in Mbumo. My bench will be Areola, Rogers, Munoz, and Williams. And the captain is currently on Jared Bowen. In the captain poll, let's have a quick look. It's close this game week as well. Salah 11, Marmoush 11, Alexander Isak 33. While the other category actually is leading way at the moment with 44%. So I think that probably Jared Bowen, possibly Mbumo as well. 18 votes. So let me know in the comments if you voted for other. Let me know which player you're going to captain for game week 35. 36 minutes left. Bontway Clash of Clans current 11 is Raya, Guardiol, Consa, Livramento, Saka to Mbimo, Sar to Rogers. Sar, are you transferring out Sar to bring in Rogers this game week? Salah, Jared Bowen, Murphy, Alexander Isak, Marmouche, assistant manager Areola, and on the bench Areola, Mateta, Kivior, and Munoz. Thoughts? Not sure on captaincy. I'm not really sure about that transfer with Sar to Rogers. This is the only thing that I'm questioning about those decisions. I really like Saka to Mbeumo. Of course, that's my transfer as well this game week. But selling Sar to bring in Rogers, I'm not really sure about that one. I'll probably bench Rogers this game week, but Salah, of course, decent. Jared Bowen is my captain this game week. And Murphy. However, really good team though. I think that you probably do well. I'm not really convinced by Rogers this game week, to be honest, but if you're going to sell Sar, I would probably just go for a big punt, to be honest. Someone like Morgan Gibbs White, or even someone from Everton, or probably El Canous from Leicester. A really exciting player with around 1% ownership. Bringing in Rogers at this point, not really sure about that one, but yeah. Hello, thoughts on Marino to Jared Bowen and Evan Nilsson to Wardy with 2 free transfers? 1.5 million rank captain Jared Bowen or Jamie Wardy. I really like Jamie Wardy's fixture this game week, so I definitely think that is worth a punt. I'm not really a fan of Leicester this season, especially since around Christmas. Ruud van Nistelrooy, he won his first game, but they actually have looked really bad ever since. Not that bad considering their attacking stats, so bringing in Jamie Vardy is probably not the worst idea. So I like those moves. I really like Jared Bowen and West Ham's fixture this game week against Spurs. I think that they will rotate and play a weakened team against West Ham, so I think that bringing in Jared Bowen this game week is a really good idea, and I would probably captain Jared Bowen. But on the other hand, if you have Jamie Vardy, it will be really exciting to watch that game with Jamie Vardy as the captain. We know that Jamie Vardy, he is on penalties as well. Jared Bowen is actually not on penalties. We know Paqueta will take them for West Ham, so I really like Jamie Vardy captain, to be honest. So yeah, do those moves and captain Jamie Vardy. I think that you will have a really fun game week. Cannot guarantee, of course, that it will end well, but I think that you will have a really exciting game week. Especially if you have the possibility to watch that Leicester game on Saturday against Southampton. Two interesting games, Everton against Ipswich. I know that a lot of managers have Pickford, Mikolenko on my watch lists. As you can see in the right corner, I actually have an Everton player on my watch list. In defense, O'Brien. I really like Everton's fixtures. Two really good home fixtures for Everton. So if you want to take a punt, bring in O'Brien or someone from Everton as well. First time here, just subscribe. Thanks for subscribing. Really, really appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Obamara. And yeah, I might go Jared Bowen, but good luck. Thanks for joining in. Best of luck for game week 35. I'm pretty locked in on Jared Bowen at the moment. I was on Alexander Isak, but I'm really tempted to go for the differential and Jared Bowen. I think that he is a decent captain option for game week 35. So good luck to you and have a nice weekend. Thanks for subscribing. "30 minutes left until the deadline. Let me know if you have any other questions, dilemmas, or 50-50 decisions ahead of the deadline. I will try to have a quick look over at X to see if there are any early team news. Stuff like that. We had an FPL account with over 10k followers posting that he could potentially have some early team news from Man City. I think when we talk about those early team news, you know that there have been FPL accounts over at old Twitter and X. Actually, we usually have been in the know that this season, at the end of last season, actually posted false team news. Not that it's false, but it was actually just wrong. I don't think that they tried to mislead anyone or something like that, but their information was not correct. 24 minutes left until the deadline. I'll have a quick look over at X to see if we have any early team news. As mentioned, there have been one account over at X posting that he will probably have some early team news from the Man City lineup. So I'll definitely monitor that one the next 20 minutes. But let me know if you have any questions, dilemmas, or 50-50 decisions. Next 20 minutes. "20 minutes left until the deadline." Not seeing any concrete news when it comes to the Man City lineup. But let me know if you have any questions or 50-50 decisions to make ahead of the game week 35 deadline. My team is pretty much locked in for the next game week. I sold Saka to bring in Mbumo. I watched the game last night, Brentford against Nottingham Forest. Wasn't really impressed with Mbumo in that game, but we know that he is on penalties and set pieces for Brentford, so hopefully he can do well in game week 35. Joyce Hurley, I like your picks. What is your best FPL rank? Thanks, Joyce. Actually, pretty excited for the next game week. I think that some of my players have really good fixtures, and going for a punt like Jared Bowen will potentially give me another green arrow in game week 35. My best FPL rank is actually, I think it's 156, 157. Yeah, it's 157 in the world. It was 6 seasons ago. Really good season, started well, had a really bad period around Christmas, but I remember having a bit of luck with my transfers, so kind of the opposite when we compare it to this season for me. So at the moment, I'm around 800k. Not a season to remember for me, but however, I enjoyed it, so that's what matters the most. So 158, 7 times inside the top 35k. So of course there is a bit disappointing ending this season, around 800 at the moment. So if I'm lucky, I'll probably get like 500k this season, but I need a bit of luck to reach that goal. So it will not be a season to remember for me. What about you, Joyce? What's your best rank in FPL, and are you ready for game week 35? 16 minutes left, so it's time to actually start locking in the transfers and making a decision on captaincy. 16 minutes left. I'll have a quick look over at X once more to see if the early team news account can deliver this game week. It's called Team News FPL over at X if you're interested to check it out for yourself, but I'll keep you updated in this stream as well. So 2 hours ago, which Man City players do you need early team news for was posted. As mentioned, it's actually 4 hours ago. Account has actually 10.8k followers. Not really sure about their credibility and if they have posted correct early team news before, but seems legit, and hopefully they can give us a bit of an advantage this game week. But it, for my team, doesn't really matter. I'm not considering the Kevin De Bruyne captaincy. I will start him, I will start Marmoush, and I will start Guardiola, but not really considering any of them as my captain. So Jared Bowen is my captain at the moment. Alexander Isak is my vice captain. I had Alexander Isak all week. I actually changed it last night on the Q&A. Got a couple of questions about Alexander Isak and why I chose him. I'll quickly put up on the screen the stats for Newcastle and their opponent Brighton in game week 35. So this is the Brighton defensive stats in the last 4 game weeks. They haven't kept any clean sheets, 10 goals conceded, 10 big chances, and 21 shots on target. Expected goals 5.55. So not the best defensive stats for Brighton. So I'm actually still a bit tempted to captain Alexander Isak, to be honest, when we consider that he is nailed on to start and the fact that he is on penalties for Newcastle as well. So still think, as mentioned, that Alexander Isak is a decent captain option for game week 35. And if you don't have him in your team, and if you have the available funds to upgrade one of your strikers to Alexander Isak, that's probably a good idea. So thanks for subscribing to the channel, everyone. I got, actually it's on the screen 3 new subscribers, but it's actually 6 new subscribers so far in the last hour, so that's really really good. So thanks for subscribing, and please like the stream as well to get more visibility. That's really appreciated. At the moment I'm actually at 2,780 subscribers. That's a really good number for me. So thanks for subscribing, and let me know if you have any more questions. It's 12 minutes left until the deadline. The most transferred out player this game week is Saka, and the most transferred in player is Mbumo. Visa is second, and Jared Bowen is third on the most transferred in. I talked about Saka, he is the most transferred out player, while Cole Palmer is second, and the injured Marcus Rashford is third. Man City, they are the bookies' favorites for expected clean sheets. Marmoush is the bookies' favorite when it comes to anytime goal scorer. Alexander Isak second, Visa third. Brentford, they are one of the bookies' favorites this game week. We know Man United, they will probably play it safe and save some of their players in game week 35. They have an important game against Athletic in Europe next Thursday, so I think that targeting the teams that still play in the European competition, like of course Arsenal, we know they will play on Wednesday against PSG. We know that Spurs, they will play against the Norwegian team Bodø Glimt on Thursday, and as mentioned, Man United will play against Athletic. So target those teams. I think that there will be benefits of having players playing against them in game week 35. Only 9 minutes left. As mentioned, let me know if you have any dilemmas. You can see over at X a lot of managers locking in their teams. Still a couple of captain polls going around, and it's between Jared Bowen and Mbumo, Mo Salah. Let's have a look. Mbumo. At the first glance, it looks like Mbumo captaincy will be really popular. It will be interesting to see his effective ownership for game week 35. Can possibly go close to 100%, considering that he is owned by 40%. I think that a lot of FPL managers actually have saved their triple captainship as well in the anticipation of a double game week 36, but as soon as we got the news that there will be no double game week 36, then some managers will probably use their triple captainship this game week. I can see some locking in Kevin De Bruyne as your captain as well. We saw some rumors actually. Fabrizio Romano tweeting earlier today that Kevin De Bruyne will be on the bench. It's not confirmed. I can see that he has deleted the tweet about Kevin De Bruyne bench, but Ralph Sutton start Murphy or Rogers start Burn or Konate or Kamsa. So I would probably Murphy. I think that Rogers probably is the better option. So Murphy would be first on my bench. In defense, I would be tempted to go for the attacking potential from Dan Burn, to be honest. I'm not really sure when we consider Liverpool and Konate's attacking potential is kind of limited as well, so I would go for Rodgers and Dan Burn. Joyce Hurley, I'm locked in for this week, and thanks for the consistent updates. No worries. My personal best is not really worth mentioning and not really able to follow too detailed these days, so your posts are appreciated. Yeah, thanks for letting me know. Really appreciate the feedback, Joyce Hurley, and thanks for joining in. Hopefully you'll have a decent game week 35 and have a great weekend. If you're interested, join in on the next live session. It will be the day before the next deadline, so I usually do a Q&A the night before each deadline, and when I find the time, I do those deadline streams like 90 minutes or so before the deadline as well. So thanks for joining in, Joyce. Thanks for joining in as well, Ralph Sutton. Okay, thanks. Hopefully Rodgers and Dan Burn can deliver. I actually have Rodgers on my bench this game week, but I don't really hate the fixture at home against Fulham, but I can't really see any other players in my starting 11 and my front 7 that I can bench to play Rodgers this week. But I really like Rodgers for game week, especially for game week 37. They have a good game against, was it Spurs? At home against Spurs in game week 37. Let's have a quick look. Yes, Aston Villa in game week 37 playing at home against Spurs. We know that Spurs, especially if they reach the Europe League final, they are 3-1 up against Bodø/Glimt. I think that they potentially can reach the final. So if Spurs will play in the final, that mentioned final will be only 72 hours after their game against Aston Villa. So I think that we will see a really weakened Spurs team in game week 37. So having Aston Villa players for game week 37 can potentially be really valuable. So So 3 minutes left, 3:40, 3 minutes and 40 seconds until the deadline. I'm not really considering any late moves, to be honest, so I'm kind of relaxed. Jared Bowen will be my captain, Alexander Isak vice captain, Kevin De Bruyne, Guardiola and Marmoush. Hopefully they all will start. Not seeing any team news worth mentioning, to be honest. even though I've checked over at X. I'll have a quick look again. Marmoush starts. Not that it was that surprising, but so if you want to captain Marmoush and if you're not sure if Marmoush will start, right now we know that Marmoush will start for Man City in game week 35. Not a big surprise, but yeah, that's confirmed. Start Wan-Bissaka or Konate. I would probably take a punt on Wan-Bissaka, to be honest. We know that he has been injured, but I think he will start in game week 35, and for Wan-Bissaka there is actually a potential for attacking returns as well in game week 35, so Wan-Bissaka is definitely the most exciting pick, and Konate would probably be to be considered as the safe option covering the Liverpool defense, but yeah, I would go Wan-Bissaka for game week 35. I know there's not much time left, but not any concrete news from the City camp. But we know that Marmoush will start. Other than that, Savinho will probably. This is just guesswork. Haven't seen any updates on Savinho, so hopefully if you own him, he will start. And of course, the same goes for Kevin De Bruyne and Guardiola. We know that actually Fabrizio Romano, usually a really reliable reporter, he posted earlier today that Kevin De Bruyne will be benched, but he deleted his tweet right after posting it. But of course, someone took a screenshot, so that has been floating around over at X this afternoon, but nothing confirmed from the City camp. So if you want to captain a Man City player, go Marmoush, or I would take a punt on Jared Bowen. Jared Bowen will be my captain. Alexander Isak will be my vice captain for game week 35. Actually, will be a bit annoyed if Alexander Isak holds in game week 35, because I've actually been on Alexander Isak for like 5 days. So if Alexander Isak holds, that would be a bit annoying considering that he has been my captain all week. But yesterday on the Q&A, I discussed the captaincy and ended up going for Jared Bowen. Where are you from? I'm from Norway. So the captain poll, let's have a quick look. Salah 22%, Marmoush 11, Alexander Isak 26, and other, that would mean Jared Bowen and Mbumo 41. I had comments about both Jared Bowen and Mbumo, so not really sure how much on each, but it will be pretty close captaincy for game week 35. it will be a divided captaincy. We know that Mo Salah, he is playing against a strong Chelsea team this game week, so there will be a lot of variety in the captain selection. Joyce Hurley, where are you from? Sounds like you're from Australia. So decent stream, 100 views, maximum 11 at the same time. Not the best. I know that when we have like an irregular FPL deadline like this game week with the Friday deadline, it kind of catches some of the FPL managers off guard. But thanks to anyone who joined in, the deadline is gone. My transfer this game week has been Mo. My transfer this game week has been Saka to Mbumo, and the captain will be Jared Bowen. So the team on the screen is actually locked in. No chances to change anything at this point. So good luck for game week 35, and hopefully you'll have a nice weekend. Joyce Hurley, Liverpool fan. Not sure what would suggest that I'm a Liverpool fan, to be honest, but it's not correct. My favorite team is actually Man United, so Liverpool's biggest rivals at the moment. So thanks for joining in. Subscribe to the channel if you want to join in next time as well to get a notification. And best of luck for game week 35, and have a nice weekend.